and welcome to HS Game Time Live. A little bit late, but definitely worth the wait as we head into week 11 of the high school football season. Can you believe it? It's playoff time here around the inland area, and we've got all your highlights, scores, and hopefully some analysis. A lot of these 7:30 kickoffs for the playoffs has really thrown a wrench into our operation here at the Press Enterprise, but we're working on trying to get all the stories into the Saturday's Press Enterprise. Of course, all the stories, the photos, the videos are right here at HS Game Time online anytime at hsgametime.pe.com. But we're going to get through some of the highlights and scores from Week 11, the first round of the high school football playoffs. So we're going to start in the Inland Division. We'll get to some other games and scores in just a moment, but we're going to start with the Norco versus Redlands East Valley game, a rematch from the playoffs last season. Redlands East Valley actually won that game last year, 20-15. So how the Wildcats fared this time around against Norco from the land of the Big Eight. So Angel, let's go ahead and roll that video from Dodge Stadium, Redlands High School. There's Kylie Fitz. He is not playing. He's got the wrist injury. And here comes Norco. Watch out for number 44. Danny Maddox gets trampled in the pile. He would be okay. So with the Cougars, that's Joseph Ajibi breaking off a big run, opening drive of the game for Norco. Then later on that drive, Colton Gerhardt goes in for the touchdown. They add the 2-point conversion. That makes it 8-zip, Cougars on top. Redlands East Valley, they came to play. They had the offense going. Quarterback Levi Plant to Malik Lovitz. You gotta love it. And then it's Hakeem McKenzie, the third. Not the fourth, the third. In for the touchdown here. That ties the game at 8-8 after the 2-point conversion. Later, Joseph Ajibi again flies over the line, goes in for the touchdown. That made it 14-8. Norco would get the ball back. Here comes that Wildcat defense. Trey Oliphant coming up with the interception in the red zone. So Rev takes over in great field position. Plant falling down, pitches to Taylor Thompson, goes in for the touchdown, and Rev takes the lead 15-14. Kurt Bruick needs some defense. Colton Gerhardt not having it. Goes in for the touchdown here. Norco back on top, 22-15. Then it's Joe Ajibi. Check out this big run down the sideline in the second quarter. At the end of this play, number 3, Blake Braun is going to throw him pretty hard to the ground. And Ajibi a little shaken up after this play, as you can see right there. He would leave the game in the second quarter. We'll have to talk with EPG if he actually came back in the second half. Then it's Plant to McKenzie the third. In for the touchdown. That would make it 22-22 at the half. But in the second half, Norco comes up big time. You come back here live in the studio, Angel, as the final score, get this, it was, like I said, 22-22 at the half. Final score, Norco 50, Redlands East Valley 22. So the Cougars coming out in the second half in a big way as they roll past Redlands East Valley 50-22, your final score. So what does Norco get as a parting prize for beating the Wildcats? Well, let's go ahead, Angel, punch up the scores from the Inland Division tonight because Norco is getting, Vista Murrieta, the number 1 team in the Inland Division bracket. They beat South Hills by a final score of 34-6. And Chris Erickley tells me that Sua Cravens did not even play in this game. He was a little banged up. He said he would have played if he needed to. But even without Sua, Vista Murrieta rolls 34-6. So it will be Vista Murrieta and Norco hooking up, I believe, at Norco in the second round next Friday. And there's that Norco score, 50-22. Like I said, 22 all at the half, and Norco comes up big time in the second half. Rancho Cucamonga defeating Santiago 33-17. I'm looking at my brackets right here, so it will be Rancho Cucamonga taking on Charter Oak for the next score because Charter Oak beat Chaparral tonight, 24-14, your final score. So the Pumas go on the road and nearly knock off a very good Charter Oak team. And also from the Inland Division, Upland over Great Oak, 35-6. So guess who Upland will get in the next round? Let's go to the next score. And Upland will be taking on, Redlands, the Terriers. They knock off Chino Hills big time. 55-27, trying to get some numbers. But I'm assuming with that score that Craig Lee, their awesome running back who's headed to UCLA, probably played in this game. He was nursing that shoulder injury, but it looks like he probably played and probably had a huge night as the Terriers advance, winning 55-27. And let's go to the next score. Murrieta Valley over Eisenhower, 35-27 your final score. So Murrieta Valley, the Nighthawks, a winner at home. And Chris Erkley will have those highlights in just a moment. So Murrieta Valley will take on Centennial in the second round after Centennial defeated Los Osos of Rancho Cucamonga 47-21. Your final score right there. All right, back here live in the studio as the show rolls on. That was the Inland Division. I got papers all over the place. We're trying to make sense of who's winning tonight and who's moving on to the playoffs and who they're going to play next week. But now we're going to head to the Central Division, and we're going to start the highlights with Heritage at home for Palm Desert. And Heritage, if you remember last year, reached the CIF championship game in the Eastern Division. They lost to Summit, but the Patriots reached the title game last year. Now they're in the Central Division as the number 2 seed, trailing, only Summit. And wait till you see the Summit score. We're going to get to that in just a moment as well. But Angel, let's roll the highlights. Heritage taking on the visiting Aztecs from Palm Desert High School. Early on, the visiting Aztecs giving the Patriots all kinds of problems. That's Braden Bateman. He goes in for the touchdown run to put Palm Desert on the board first. 7-zip. Then later, Heritage with the ball, fumble on the play, and Palm Desert would recover. And it was cold out there, but check out the Patriots. He's got his flannel on under the old red, white, and blue. That's a nice look. Palm Desert's quarterback, Joseph Castelli to Garen Meesarch. That makes it 13-zip Palm Desert. But here comes Heritage. They crank it up. I think that's Isaiah Morrow, the sophomore, younger brother of Jamal Morrow. He's got a nice run there. Same drive, second quarter now. Sione Taki, the touchdown. That makes it 13-7, Heritage trailing. And then Taki put it in spin mode. The big man can run, moving that pile there. That's Taki. Here comes Isaiah Morrow. One more time, another great carry here by the sophomore. So once Jamal leaves, Isaiah will be getting a bulk of the carries for the Patriots ground game. That leads to this. Quarterback Matt Bradshaw to my boy Erod. Evan Rodriguez, he gives the Patriots the lead 14-13. And still in the second quarter, Bradshaw to Marvin Hefo. He goes in for the touchdown. That made it 21-13, Heritage on top, and Heritage goes on to defeat Palm Desert by a final score of 42-28. So a big win there for Heritage. A little slow out of the gates, but the Patriots did respond as they pick up the big win against Palm Desert tonight. All right, let's go to the rest of the scores from the Central Division. So let's punch up those scores. And we'll start maybe with that Summit Paloma Valley game. As we told you, Summit, the top seed, they're now in the Central Division, the number 1 seed. So let's go ahead and punch up that score. Summit and Paloma Valley, and check it out. Paloma Valley. Remember, they're an at-large team. They're like a wild card team. They didn't get an automatic berth. They had to be selected into the playoffs. What do? They go on the road to the number 1 seed, Summit, and they knock off the Skyhawks by final score of 22-3. Now, Dennis Pope, a sports writer here at the Press Enterprise, was at the game. He shot video, so if we don't get the video on the show tonight on HS Game Time Live, you can bet we'll have it on the Saturday Scouting Report. All right, so Paloma Valley advances, and Paloma Valley, let's go to the next one. Colton against Elsinore. Elsinore a winner, 41-6. So I'm looking at the brackets. Elsinore will take on, let's go to the next score. Elsinore is going to get the Rancho Verde, the Mustangs, having no trouble with Chaffee, 56-6 your final score. So the Rancho Verde will meet Elsinore in the second round. If you remember, the first game of the season, Elsinore went on the road and beat Rancho Verde. So I think it's going to be a coin flip to see who hosts. It looks like both hosted in the first round, so we'll see how that works out. Also in the Central Division, Kaiser defeating JW North, 14-7, your final score. So remember, Kaiser has that stingy defense, and it looks like the Cats D stood up against North, 14-7, your final score. Temescal Canyon going on the road, and they beat Palm Springs 21-3. So how about them Titans? Remember the Titans, 21-3 your final score. So in the second round, it will be Temescal Canyon and Kaiser meeting on Friday. All right, let's go to the next score. Arlington and Chino. We are expecting video highlights of this game for the Saturday scouting report. So please check back on Saturday. We'll have highlights of Arlington defeating Chino 29-7. And one more score. There it is, as we told you. Oh, it's actually backwards. So it's Heritage 42, Palm Desert 28. So it will be Heritage and Arlington playing in the second round. Tell me, a better matchup than that one in the second round? I don't think so. Heritage and Arlington meeting in the second round after Heritage wins. Once more, it's backwards, 42-28. Heritage is your winner in that one. All right, moving on. Let's see. Let's go to the Eastern Division now. And we're going to start with Beaumont hosting Moreno Valley, an all-local battle in the Eastern Division. Let's go ahead and, Angel, let's roll those highlights from Beaumont. Here they come. And they tell me that our guy Javier Cabrera is like the mayor of Beaumont. In fact, Javier should be coming in right now. He's going to break down his highlights in just a second. So there we go. Actually third quarter in this one. Beaumont led 14-0 at the half, but that's in the third quarter here. And that's Joe Jeffers, the long run. That would set up this. Jacob Ulibarri for the touchdown, or Ulibarri. Jacob, I mean, you got to call in. Let me know how you say your name, because I've heard I might be mispronouncing it, which is not possible, but maybe, I guess. There's Josh Martin, the former quarterback, playing receiver there. Takes it all the way down at about the 15-yard line, and that would lead to Ulibarri to Sam Roberts for the touchdown as Beaumont goes on to defeat Moreno Valley. What was the final score in that one, Javi? Do you remember? I don't have the score in front of me. Let's see.
When I left, it was 28-0.
Hold on here. No, I don't even have the score, but Beaumont did win.
Beaumont did win.
I think it was 28-0, but Beaumont is a winner. I guess you go out there and they just treat you like a rock star, right, Javi? Beaumont loves HS Game Time.
Right. I mean, last week I mentioned that Coach Pike was one of my teachers back at Full High in 2005, and when I got there, everyone was like, "Hey, we showed Pike the video, and he was all excited. He remembered you," and I was like, I was surprised that he actually remembered me. But we had a moment during halftime.
Moment, huh?
Yeah, we talked, and he also, we took a picture and all that stuff. But Beaumont was definitely excited to have high school game time there.
Well, you know what? You got some video of Coach Pike. We couldn't get in the live show, but we'll squeeze it into the Saturday scouting report. So, Coach Pike, if you're out there watching, you'll be on the Saturday show. All right, so back to Beaumont.
Right.
Looking very impressive. You got there right around halftime. It was 14-0. So how about their defense shutting out Moreno Valley when you were there, right? You left when it was 28-0.
Right. I remember Miriam saying when they had the pick'em video that she was going with Moreno Valley because they were big and they were just gonna roll over Beaumont. But Beaumont kept their poise in there, and they actually were able to build that wall and keep Moreno Valley from scoring a touchdown, and there was a couple of times in that third quarter where Moreno Valley couldn't even make a first down, but definitely Beaumont was really solid on defense.
Yeah, Miriam's right. She did a story on them earlier. They got a huge offensive line. They've got some good skill guys. My favorite's probably Waki Suliafu, who you actually got hurt, right, against Beaumont tonight.
Yeah, in the third quarter, he was trying to break a tackle, and I guess he came down the wrong way and he was limping off the field, but he came back for another play after that, but I don't know what his status is, but it didn't seem serious. It was an ankle injury, I think.
All right, well, we're trying to find out who won the Serrano Arroyo Valley game. Did we have that score in the scoreboard yet?
No.
You know what, but I'm going to assume Serrano won because they're a very tough team, but we'll just assume that just for a moment. So Beaumont moves on to the second round. They've got Josh Martin, who started the season as their quarterback. Now he's making plays all over the field. He also plays defense, right? Number 2, Josh Martin?
Yeah. One of the assistant coaches was talking to me about him, and I asked him, hey, how come he's not the quarterback or the starting QB? And he was just, I guess, one of the games during the season, he got injured, his shoulder, and they switched him up with the number 11, but they said that they have him back, so Beaumont could be using a two system QB or whatever.
So the new guy in there, Jacob. How do you say his last name?
Why you trying to put me on the spot?
Well, I think I've been saying Ulibarri.
Hey, he approached me and he asked me to tell you that you were pronouncing his name wrong. But I was caught up in the moment. I don't remember how you pronounce his name. But I asked him if he wanted to go on the video and tell you on video, but he didn't want to because it was during the game. He wanted to do it after the game.
Here's the deal, Jacob. I'm on your boy Pep here is on Facebook and Twitter, so hit me up. Let me know how you pronounce it. I'm saying Ulibarri. It looks like Ulibarri to me, but if it's Ulibarri or Ulibarri maybe, I don't know. So, but we'll work it out. All right, Javi, you're the man. Blow it up. Boom. You're pretty cool even for a Lakers fan.
Yeah. Go Lakers.
We know the Kings. Did the Lakers win tonight, by the way?
Yeah, they did. 101-77.
Did Sacramento beat San Antonio?
I don't know. I don't keep track with
Why don't you work
teams.
on that score for me real quick? All right. Thanks. That's Javier Cabrera. All right, Angel, let's go to the other scores from the Eastern Division. There's your top seed, Citrus Hill, having no problem with Silverado. 51-0, your final score. So the Hawks start the playoffs in impressive fashion. 51-0, your final score. All right, also from the Eastern Division to the next score. It's, I believe, Rialto and Norte Vista. Rialto knocking off the Braves 37-28. So that means it will be Rialto taking on Citrus Hill, the top seed in the second round on Friday. All right, to the next score from the Eastern Division, that would be Taquits taking on San Gorgonio. And Taquits, the winner, on the road, 40-14. The Titans pick up the win. And they'll get the winner of this one. They'll take on Oak Hills. So it will be Taquits and Oak Hills. Still working on a Arroyo Valley Serrano score. So if you have it, hit us up. Like I said, we're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. Let us know if you've got that. Even if you don't have the score, if you know who won, that'd help us out. So hit us up on here, and you can give us a score. Maybe you're at the game. You can tell us how it all went down. So, and let's see. There's the Moreno Valley Beaumont. We know Beaumont did win. We'll get that final score in there. San Jacinto Burroughs. Burroughs did win. I heard the score in the newsroom, and I know Burroughs won. I think it was like 18-7. We'll get that. We'll get a concrete score for you. But the Burroughs from Ridgecrest beating San Jacinto tonight. And one more score, and I believe we do have this one. Carter and La Sierra. Like I told you, these 7:30 kickoffs really threw a wrench into our operation here. 35-13. Carter defeats La Sierra. And that will wrap up our our Eastern Division scores. All right, Angel, let's come back here live real quick. And if you want to, Angel, why don't we punch up the newsroom camera 2 real quick, and we'll take a quick look in there as the guys are working hard. There's Angelito right there waving, David Zink, our fearless sports editor. There's Ja Rule, Javier Cabrera. Ja, I still need that Sacramento Kings score. I still need that one. I know there's a lot of good high school football playoffs, but I need a Kings-Spurs score from you. And then there's the Prep Dog with his back to us and EPJ. They were at games tonight. Prep Dog was at the Taquits game against San G. Eric was at the big Norco versus Rev. Like I said, I was at the Norco game, and it was all tied, 22-22 with Rev. Second half, Norco blows the doors open to win 50-22. All right, back here live in the studio. The highlights roll on and the scores from the East Valley Division. And when you talk East Valley, you got to talk about the Sty Hairston experience. He had another big game. Low scoring, though, against Shadow Hills, which you would think would be another shootout with those guys, but it wasn't. All right, let's roll the highlights from Banning High School, where HS Game Time Live is big. Oh, that's Beaumont. But we need Banning now. So we're big in Beaumont. We're also big in Banning. They love us in both places. And they both come running out of the paper. So, I mean, they do the same thing. They just have different colors. So there's Sty Hairston. He actually throws the ball once in a while. We know he's a great runner. Hey, there's my boys, Devon, Jesse, and Nathan. Big fans of it's HS Game Time Live. Guys, you just made the show. How cool is that? All right, early in this one, Shadow Hills with 4th and goal. But that Bronco defense stands them up, and they keep Shadow Hills out of the end zone. Then later, it's, how about Sty Hairston going to Babra Edwards for the big gain? And then Sty Hairston says, you know what, second quarter, no score. I'm about to change that. 80 yards on this touchdown run. The Sty Hairston experience puts Banning up by a score of 7-0. And then later in the second quarter, Sty Hairston, oops, he did it again. Sty Hairston in for another touchdown. Banning goes on to win by a final score of 21-3. So a low-scoring game with Shadow Hills, but Banning doing enough to advance to the next round. All right, got my brackets out. If you got your brackets at home, follow along, get your pen out. We'll fill them out together. All right, Angel and Javier, let's crank up the East Valley Division scoreboard. And we'll start with, there's Serrano and Arroyo Valley. So Serrano did win 39-21. That is from the Eastern Division. So, and then there's the Beaumont score against Moreno Valley, 35-7, your final score. So last we heard is 28-zip, but 35-7, your final score. All right, now to the East Valley Division. Still waiting on that Rubidoux score, but we can tell you about Citrus Valley and Yucca Valley. The Blackhawks win 17-0. So Citrus Valley is moving on. Also from the East Valley Division, Fillmore beats Jurupa Hills 47-19. So it will be Citrus Valley and Fillmore meeting on Friday in the second round of the East Valley Division. To the next score, there's the Banning score. They win 21-3, so Banning is into the next round. And also, let's see, do we have the Linfield Christian score? No, still working on that one. So I got my buddy out there, Damian Gallardo, big Linfield Christian guy. I believe it's his nephew, Dallas House. So hopefully he'll hook us up with a score. Still waiting for Linfield's Christian. But St. Margaret's and Aquinas. Aquinas is blanked by St. Margaret's 28-0, your final score. All right, back here, live in the studio. We've got more highlights, more scores. Chris Erickley, I saw him out there editing. He's writing down his script for the highlights. He was at the Vista Murrieta against South Hills game, which we told you Vista Murrieta won. He'll have those highlights, as well as Murrieta Valley taking on Eisenhower. So we'll have highlights from both those games. We're still waiting on Dennis Pope. He's hoping to bring back some video of Paloma Valley taking on Summit. So that's just around the corner. But first, we want to take a look at the HS Game Time poll question from this past week. And we asked, which 1-2 punch is the best in our area? We gave you, I think it was 7 pretty good choices. And Angel, go ahead and leave that graphic up. I'm going to punch up some of the comments we had on here because some people chimed in. They thought maybe, we had missed some names on here, and maybe we did. We gave you 7 selections, but some people were like, hey, you're missing some. But as of right now, as of tonight, last time I checked, Nick Stevens, the quarterback, and Sua Cravens at Vista Murrieta, the leaders at this point with 35% of the vote. Second place, a tie right now, Citrus Hills, Trevor Hodge and KJ Young with 19%, and Lima High Hefo and Jamal Morrow also at 19%. So, but right now, Vista Murrieta's duo of Stevens and Cravens are running away with it, but also some comments from Facebook. My boy, Alex Palomera, he said, whoa, don't forget about his Moreno Valley Vikings, Waki Suliafu and Sekoania Palate, which you can't argue against those guys. That's a great 1-2 punch out at Moval. And our guy, Dennis Pope, who is one of our writers here at the Press Enterprise, he suggested Austin Rankin and Trey Watson and or Robert Weber at Centennial. That's also a great pick. And maybe throw in Redlands Craig Lee, the running back going to UCLA, and their quarterback, Jimmy Walker. So, and then Dalton Monroe, Trevelyan, he suggested Tocquitz's Jonte Price and Derek Peters. So those were some of the comments we got. And let's see, there was one on here on Twitter I wanted to get to, and they suggested Paloma Valley's quarterback, Brent Bohm, Bebo, as I like to call him, Brent Bohm, and the running back, David Solis at Paloma Valley. So a lot of good choices there. We appreciate the feedback. So right now, as we told you, Vista Murrieta's guys leading the way, but some other guys on Facebook and Twitter getting some recognition as being a great 1-2 punch. All right, back here live in the studio. We're going to get to the highlights in just a moment and all the scores, plus tell you about our Army All-American Bowl selections here this past week. We had 2 of them. We'll tell you about those. But first, we want to remind you, every Wednesday, and now Mondays as well, I go on KCal Rocks, 96.7 FM, your home for the San Diego Chargers this season. I go on there Monday and Wednesday. We talk high school football. We talk about the playoffs. We talk, of course, the Chargers and how they're doing. And here's a sample from this past Wednesday on KCal Rocks, 96.7 FM.
First round this week, and the big story is Redlands East Valley's playing Norco, a rematch of a playoff game from last year.
Redlands big stud, Rev's big stud, Kylie Fitz, going to USC. He's 6'3". He's built. He's a monster. It's like looking in a mirror for me.
Oh, yeah.
He had a big celebration yesterday at Rev because he's an Army All-American Bowl selection. So on
congrats!
January 5th in San Antonio, he'll be at the big game, televised on NBC. He'll go there, he'll play, then he'll enroll at USC. But he's got a wrist injury, so he's not going to play against Norco. So he's out. But I said, hey, Kylie, if you guys, somehow the Wildcats made a run all the way to the championship game, you got to play, right? He said, yeah, I'm playing in that game. So he's keeping that window open. But
right here from the IEC, he's going to play for USC.
Yeah, Rev is tough.
Yeah, so Rev versus Norco this Friday, and then it's on to USC for Kylie Fitz. And then the other big story is, and we did the story last week at the Press Enterprise, is Corona Centennial, which is one of the top programs in the entire state for high school football. Yeah, you're right, Stu. And Matt Logan's their head coach. His daughter, Sammy, is a basketball star. They put her on the football team for Breast Cancer Awareness Month in October. She actually led them down and on a scoring drive, completed an 18-yard pass. So now they're going to play Rancho Cucamonga Los Osos this Friday. If the lead is large enough, Sammy's going to get in there. They're going to try to get her a touchdown pass in her mom's honor.
Pep Fernandez, we can't thank you enough with the high school playoff action. Where do we go for your website?
hsgametime.pe.com. We will do it live Friday at 10:30 with all your first-round playoff highlights.
Welcome back to HS Game Time Live. We are
Breaking it down like no other. We've got all your first round high school football scores and highlights. We're going to bring in some of the reporters for analysis. Hey, Angel, you want to punch up camera 2 real quick? We'll take a look at the newsroom. It looks like it's really popping off in there. There's Dennis Pope. There's David Zink standing next to the donuts. I don't know why. Maybe he's taking a quick snack break. There's the prep dog blowing his nose. Perfect time. We got EPJ on the phone. Right, Angel? Right? I mean, that's perfect time. Yeah, Angel knows what I'm talking about. So there's our crew. They're getting it done. They're cranking out Saturday's Press Enterprise with all your high school football coverage and with a special section on the Southwest. So you find folks in Murrieta and Temecula, please look out for that. The Press Enterprise is coming to your area big time. All right, back here live in the studio. More highlights and scores right around the corner. I guarantee, I promise. But first, we got to tell you something about, something very special that happened for a pair of our local players this past week. The U.S. Army All-American Bowl in San Antonio each year is the premier showcase for high school football seniors. They usually go to this game. Some big names have gone through this game. Andrew Luck, the quarterback for the Colts, Adrian Peterson. I mean, a lot of the big names in the NFL and college football have played in the Army All-American Bowl. And we've got 2 local guys who will be playing this year. Well, actually, it's technically next year, January 5th. Of 2013 at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio. We're going to start at Redlands East Valley, where Kylie Fitz, who did not play tonight because of that wrist injury, was celebrated, and they had a big presentation as Kylie Fitz received his official invitation to the All-American Bowl. All right, we're here at Redlands East Valley High School with Army All-American Kylie Fitz. Kylie, how does it sound, Army All-American Bowl selection here?
It's awesome. It's awesome. Growing up, I've always watched these games and wanted to play in it so bad, and I never thought I would, but I'm working hard and everything. I finally got it, and I'm just really honored.
Well, it's our first, so obviously that means a lot. I just can't imagine what he's feeling right now. He's such a humble kid. So, I mean, all the credit goes to him. He's done it. He's proved himself on the field. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah, they were rattling off the names that have played in this Army All-American Bowl game. The one that caught me, Andrew Luck, the quarterback for the Colts right now. So now your name's on that list with these guys. I mean, what does that mean to you?
It's a truly honor. I'm truly blessed to play in this game and be on that same list with those guys.
Now it's on to USC for you. I saw you doing the fight on sign. I mean, so you're locked into USC and you start there in the winter, right?
Oh yeah, graduate in December 17th, and then I'll play in the game on the 6th, I think it is, and then enroll January 11th. So I'm excited.
So it's all coming real fast for you, the game, and and going to USC and enrolling in classes and all that.
Yeah, it's been tough. I mean, I'm excited, but still nervous that all of this is coming fast. But I'm just going to enjoy it one day at a time.
Now, you've had the wrist injury. You've been out a couple weeks. Coach was saying at the podium that he doesn't expect you to play. You're not planning to play, right? But maybe there's that small window of opportunity if Rev can make a playoff run.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if we're in that CIF title, I'm definitely playing.
I'm not going to try to ruin Kylie's career just to play in a football game. Our program's not about that. He's got a long future ahead of him. you know, I'd love to have him on the field. He's a dominant force, but at the same time, we got to think of his future first.
But this Friday against Norco, no go, right?
Unfortunately not, but I'll be rooting them on, coaching them on from the sidelines.
All right, Kylie Fitz, Army All-American Bowl selection.
There he is, Kylie Fitz, headed to USC after he plays in the Army All-American Bowl January 5th, 2013 in San Antonio. He did not play tonight. Neither did Vista Murrieta's Sua Cravens, who's also going to USC like Kylie Fitz this winter. They'll enroll early at USC. Sua Cravens had his big Army All-American Bowl celebration this morning, Friday morning, on campus. Let's take a look at that.
The Army All-American Bowl Selection Tour made its way to Vista Murrieta High School and officially invited Sua Cravens to the 2013 game, January 5th in San Antonio. With the band playing the Broncos fight song and a quad full of onlookers, the U.S. Army presented Cravens his jersey during Friday's ceremony.
It is my pleasure to welcome you to the U.S. Army All-American Bowl Class of 2013.
Cravens, who will play his college ball at USC, is a two-way star for Vista Murrieta, excelling at safety and receiver.
Many years I've watched and said, wow, what would it be like to have a guy, one of those guys on our football team? We'd be really good if we had one of those guys. And all of a sudden this year, 2012, we have Sua Cravens.
There he is, Sua Cravens, who did not play tonight for Vista Murrieta as they rolled past South Hills. Chris Erickley standing by with the highlights. But a quick look at the HS Game Time rankings from this past week. Angel, let's crank up the top 10 from this past week. Maybe some movement as we go forward in the playoffs. Vista Murrieta, number 1, holding strong. Centennial 2 and Citrus Hill 3. Those top 3 have not really budged out of those positions. And there's the rest of the top 10. All right, back here live in the lounge with Chris Erickley, back from his Murrieta adventure once again.
Seems to be an annual tradition of me going to Vista Murrieta and then Murrieta Valley. I might as well, if they could build maybe a little train or shuttle down there, that would be real nice.
You know, maybe, one shot just for you, just to head down there every Friday night. And,
the PE chopper. Apparently that baby's still in the shop.
Working on that, the HS Game Time chopper. How nice would that be? Actually, we gotta buy a little time real quick, but maybe we should get the HS Game Time hot air balloon. That's only appropriate for the Temecula Murrieta area down there.
Yeah, I've seen that out there at a few games back during the homecoming time and blowing that baby up. They have those floating around the Southwest quite often. I see them. So.
All right, Chris, I got to ask you. So we just saw Sua Cravens at his big ceremony for the Army All-American Bowl, which is awesome. He had his jersey on, but he didn't play tonight. Before we get to the highlights, tell us what happened. He did not play.
So I walk up to the game, walking on the sideline, and I see Sua sitting there in a sweatshirt. You're going to see the clip of him here in a second, and I was, what the heck is going on here? That's not his game jersey. Walk up to him. He tells me that he's got a partially separated shoulder. He apparently in the Chaparral game, and he said he could have played if he needed to, but I guess they figured they didn't need him tonight. There he is, right there. Got the hoodie on. Looks like he's half asleep right there. Anyways, let's. I guess. Should we begin with the Vista Murrieta? Let's go for the Vista Murrieta highlights. They're ready to rock. Sua with the hoodie on, just chatting up the fellas. He knows I'm right there with him on the camera. He said, "Hey, call me Crisscross, Pep." Hey, and you know it's a big game. They got the Bambino, Baby Ruth up there on the microphone. What else do they have? They have Garrett Caraway with a backup running back for Vista. Not looking like much of a backup here, shaking defenders. On his way to the score, giving the Broncos the early lead. Nick Stevens, another one of the MVPs for Vista Murrieta. Kid's a quarterback, does a little bit of everything there, a 20-yard gain on the run. Then how about a little bit more from Scuba Steve? He fakes the handoff, powering through for the Vista touchdown, going head first. I'm sure Coley Candell loves it when he goes head first there for those touchdown runs. Hey, Sua may be out, but Bryce Smith is in the office. Dr. Smith is here with the sack coming up big, leading the Vista D. The sack party would continue for Vista. Trayshawn Broughton gets in the mix to shut down South Hills. South Hills would find the end zone one time. They dive in on the powering through from the 1-yard line. 13-6 Vista, the score at that point. Late in the second quarter, Vista trying to make things happen with about 30 seconds remaining in the half. Stevens to the butcher, the baker, and the candlestick maker. It's Baker for another half dozen. That would be 26 Vista the lead at the half, and they would clean house, winning 34-6 at home. And have you done the highlights for Rev Norco yet?
We have. So
we can't let the cat out of the bag. We got a big showdown, a big shootout at the OK Corral. We've got Vista, Murrieta, and Norco. That is in the beautiful city of Norco.
It's like November Madness. I'm filling out my brackets as the scores are coming in and who's playing where. So yeah, we'll have the Norco Rev highlights in just a couple minutes. Again, we'll show you those. But yeah, you're right, and I think Norco will be the home team.
That is correct.
Because Vista hosted tonight and Norco was on the road, so Norco will host Vista Murrieta next week. That could be an interesting game. I guess Norco can score a lot of points.
Norco can score. They don't quite have the defense that Vista Murrieta has, but of course the million-dollar question is, Sua Cravens, will he be in the game? I would really be blown away to not see him in the game. It seemed like they were just kind of playing it safe with him tonight. His arm looked fine to me, the shoulder rather. And I think I asked him, actually, I said, if you guys were playing Centennial tonight, would you be in the game? And he looked at me like I had lost my mind.
Of course.
Yes.
All right, so the Broncos pick up the easy win. Not too far from there at Murrieta Valley, the Nighthawks in a battle with Eisenhower.
Yes, that would also provide another showdown because the winner of this game would meet possibly none other than Centennial. Let's roll to the highlights that I got to that game at the beginning of the second half, and it would be exciting to the finish. The big man, or rather the little man in the backfield, Jacob Augustine, powers up the running game in the second half, driving down the field with ease. Finally, from the 1-yard line, he powers through from a short yardage, 28-21, the lead for Murrieta Valley at that time after a 21-21 halftime tie. Nighthawks D coming up clutch as well. Michael Payne stuffs the Eagles' run. It's a no-fly zone there for the Eagles. Ike later now in the fourth quarter would let it fly. This one is Marquand Harris thrown to a wide-open Jerian Burton. Wide open there, cutting the Murrieta Valley lead to just 28-27 after the missed PAT. No worries if you're a Murrieta Valley fan, though. Big plays come in small packages. 5'6", Damian Nolan on the ensuing kickoff goes 95 yards for the touchdown. How about that? 35-27 the lead. Ike, one last hurrah on fourth down. They would be denied the first down. That wraps it up 35-27. It's all hugs and handshakes for Murrieta Valley. They advance 35-27 with the win. They will have a showdown of the millennium, just like that Vista Murrieta Norco game. We've got another dandy delight in Murrieta Valley and Centennial. How about that one, Pat?
Yeah, and I think it'll be a coin flip because they both hosted tonight. So that's regardless, that's a great game.
I was told by my sideline supporters over there at Murrieta Valley that they would be the host. Maybe it was wishful thinking. Maybe they know the outcome of the coin flip. Would they have done that coin flip already? They would have.
Maybe
right?
they would have. Yeah. So maybe if they knew in advance if Centennial would have won, which we all assumed they would beat Los Osos.
Apparently they were up 40-0 at halftime. So I'm going to say, I'm going to be
Centennial.
bold and say that they hung on to win that game.
All right, so we're looking at Murrieta Valley against Centennial in one of the well, I guess you could say quarterfinals, second round. It is quarterfinals, and Vista Murrieta against Norco in the other. I mean, I guess technically, if Murrieta Valley could knock off Centennial, they wouldn't see Vista until the championship game. That'd be interesting.
They would be definitely hungry for revenge on that one if they could make it that far, because definitely Vista Murrieta. Particularly Sua Cravens, I think when they played Murrieta Valley, he had 3-4 touchdowns. They would be hungry for blood, and there's still a lot of work to be done. I think Matt Logan, Robert Weber, and Centennial have got a few things to say about that before anything like that would be happening.
Yeah, if you remember, Centennial's only loss was on the road at St. Bonaventure, and they almost beat St. Bonnie on the road.
That is true. And Murrieta Valley, they did struggle against Vista Murrieta, but they have looked quite good the last couple weeks. Andrew Blake was big time tonight. He was mobile. He doesn't usually run the ball. He usually is throwing the ball, but he was mobile tonight. Had quite a few big gains on the ground. So that would definitely be if we could have pay-per-view. I would say pay-per-view.
People would pay for that matchup.
Murrieta Valley, Centennial, and also Vista Murrieta Norco. Two double dandies there.
I would pay for that. Yeah. All right, Chris, thank you very much. He'll be back in just a little bit as we break down the Inland Division once again. But as you can tell, we have a new renewed emphasis on covering the Southwest, the fine folks in Temecula and Murrieta Valley areas, and was it Elsinore and Menifee all down there. So take a quick look at this promo, and we'll be right back with the highlights.
Great voiceover.
We're launching the Press Southwest. Our newspaper edition, distributed in Southwest Riverside County, will include more local content and a distinct new look, starting with its new front page and its new name. More local news, more local sports, and more local savings. With the latest news deadlines in Southwest Riverside County, we bring up to the date city council and school board meeting recaps and the latest prep sports scores. A new and improved look with a front page will highlight local news, and the sports section will highlight local sports. John Hunneman, the preeminent voice and columnist of Southwest Riverside County, joins the Press Southwest staff to add more authentic and local perspective. The most extensive coverage of local news and local high school sports in Riverside County. More values from local businesses to make your shopping more convenient. The Press Enterprise Southwest. Start your day in the right direction.
Welcome back to HS Game Time Live. Checking out the Twitter feed. You know the hashtag, you know this by now because we're already into the playoffs. We're about 11 weeks deep into the high school football season, but the hashtag is HSGTFB. So high school game time FB for football, HSGTFB. Eddie Franco saying, final score, Corona Centennial 47, Los Osos, the Bears 21. So Centennial advances to the second round, so we do have that score. Now, all right, speaking of Centennial, we will keep it in the Inland Division in that matchup that we were telling you about, Vista Murrieta and Norco next week. Norco going on the road, beating Redlands East Valley. It was a tough back-and-forth battle in the first half, but Norco did pull away in the second half to get the win. All right, Angel, let's go ahead and roll the highlights from actually Redlands High School on campus at Dodge Stadium. That's where Redlands East Valley played their home game. There's big Kylie Fitz wearing his USC sweater and hat. There's Norco, and where's the guy's name? Danny Maddox, 44, gets trampled in there. I heard some of his teammates laughing. I guess because he was okay. It's all good. All right, Norco running back Joseph Ajibi. Check out the moves, break some tackles, spins, and then that would set up this. Colton Gerhardt going in for the touchdown there. That made it 8-zip. Norco on top. Redlands East Valley showing they got some offense, willing to hang with the Cougars on offense. Levi Plant to Malik Lovett. It's hard to hang with that Norco high-octane offense, but they were doing it for a while. Hakeem McKenzie, the third, not the fourth, the third, in for the touchdown, ties the game at 8 after the 2-point conversion. Then it's Ajibi with another touchdown. That made it 14-8, Norco. Norco had the ball once again, but here comes that Rev defense. Trey Oliphant, the interception there for the Wildcats, and they are in business. Plant, falling, pitches to Taylor Thompson, who takes us in for the touchdown, and the Wildcats take the lead 15-14. Kurt Browick says, I need some defense. Well, not on this play, as Colton Gerhardt goes in for another touchdown, 22-15, Norco on top. But Rev would respond before halftime, as you'll see in just a moment. But here's Ajibi with a big run. Check out the end of the run. Blake Braun throws Ajibi to the ground. Cracked his head pretty good on the turf. You can see he's a little shaken up. He would go out of the game in the second quarter. We'll have to find out what his status is moving forward. I don't know if he played in the second half. We'll have to talk to EPJ about that one. But just before halftime, that's a Plant to McKenzie, the third, again for a touchdown. Rev tied the game 22-all at halftime, but as we mentioned, Norco coming up big, winning 50-22. So back here live in the studio, Norco coming out in the second half and just putting it to Redlands East Valley, winning 50-22. So a 30-zip advantage in the second half for the Cougars. And now as a reward, they get the top seed, Vista Murrieta. But Norco at home, who knows? The Cougars could do it. They've got that offense. All right, Angel, let's crank up the Inland Division scoreboard. There's the Broncos, 34-6 over South Hills. Also from the Inland Division, let's go to the next score, and that should be the Norco Rev. There it is, 50-22. No doubt the Cougars can score some points. So Norco and Vista Murrieta meeting in the second round. Santiago's season comes to an end at Rancho Cucamonga, 33-17. Rancho Cucamonga will meet Charter Oak as Charter Oak defeated Chaparral 24-14. The Pumas go on the road and battle a very good Charter Oak team, and they come up 10 short. So it'll be Rancho Cucamonga and Charter in the next round. Upland beats Great Oak 35-6. Upland's going to get, let's go to the next score, Redlands. How about that? The Terriers win 55-27. Still waiting to get some stats from this one. I'm thinking Craig Lee, the running back who's headed to UCLA, probably had a big game. And I know Jared Lale, the big lineman, opening holes for that Redlands ground attack. So Redlands is moving on. They get Upland. That will be a tough battle. And you know what? I think Redlands is going to be home next Friday for Upland. So I'm going to circle that one. Maybe I'll get out there and check out the Terriers next Friday. All right, Murrieta Valley and Eisenhower. The Nighthawks get it done. 35-27 against the co-champ from the Citrus Belt League. And Murrieta Valley will take on, let's go to the next score, Centennial and Los Osos. And as we told you, Centennial won 47-21. So it will be Centennial and Murrieta Valley in the Inland Division next Friday. All right, back here live in the studio, we're going to the Central Division. So if you're just joining us, break out your bracket. We'll fill it out together. And some surprises already in the first round of the high school football playoffs. All right, but we're going to start in the Central Division with Heritage. Angel, let's roll those videos. The video, Angel was actually there. Heritage taking on Palm Desert, the Aztecs, in town tonight for their opening round game. And it was actually Palm Desert jumping on the Patriots first. That right there is Braden Bateman. He goes in for the touchdown to put Palm Desert on the board first. Then Heritage with the ball. They actually fumble it away, and the Aztecs are there to recover. The Patriot mascot, it was kind of chilly out there, but he's got his flannel on, looking good, popping his collar. Oh, yeah. And then it's Palm Desert's quarterback, Joseph Castelli, to Garen Massarch. That makes it 13-zip Aztecs, but you can never count out Heritage. Here we go. Isaiah Morrow, the sophomore, the nice run there, playing for his big bro, Jamal Morrow. Same drive. It's my guy, Sione Taki in for the touchdown. Heritage trailing 13-7. Then it's Taki. Look at the big man, kind of nimble, showing the moves, staying on his feet. There you go. And then it's Isaiah Morrow again. He gets the call. The sophomore is going in, and he goes in for a nice run there. And that's what set up this. Quarterback Matt Bradshaw rolls out. He's going to find my boy Erod, Evan Rodriguez, and he goes in for the touchdown there on the catch. And then later, before halftime, it's Bradshaw to Marvin Hefo. He's in for the score. Heritage goes up 21-13, and the Patriots go on to win by a final score of 42-28. All right, now let's go to the Paloma Valley and Summit game. We're going to get that in just a moment. The Skyhawks, the number one seed in the Central Division this season. If you remember last year, they played in the Eastern Division, and the Skyhawks won it last year with Tony Brill was the head coach. They had a great senior class. They had Jamal Williams, the linebacker and running back, who is now at BYU and doing very well for the Cougars. And Dante Dion, the star defensive back, he's now at Boise State doing big things up there. So Summit was loaded last season, and but now they're in the Central Division playing Paloma Valley. And if you remember, the Wildcats were an at-large team. They were a wild card team. They had to wait and find out if they were even going to make the playoffs. So they opened the playoffs on the road at the number one seed, Summit. All right, let's go ahead and roll the video from Summit and Paloma Valley. Here we go, and this one. James Fonseca, the 29-yard field goal here, and that would put Summit on the board 3-zip. But here comes Paloma Valley all over in this one. That's Brenton Bohm to Marcus, is it Daigle? I think it's Daigle. Page, of course, Marcus Page. And that would set up David Solis. And check out that pass right there. That's the Marcus Page pass. That's the Marcus Page pass. So there's a highlight in between there. That sets up my boy David Solis. He goes in for the score. That made it 8-3 at that point. Then in the third quarter, it's Solis. He's going to cap off a 13-play, 80-yard drive with a 12-yard run here. And here it comes, the 12-yard touchdown run for Solis. And we can tell you, Paloma Valley. Hey, David, the game's not over, bro. Oh, there he is. Awesome. David Solis and Paloma Valley, a winner against top-seeded Summit by a final score of, was it 22-3, Dennis?
That's right.
All right. Let's come out here live to the Lounge Angel. We've got Dennis Pope. He was at the game. I don't want to brag, but I picked Paloma Valley in the Pick'em contest this
good
week.
for you.
Go ahead and break down the game. I just had to point that out real quick, that I had the Wildcats in this one.
Summit, considering that they were the number 1 seed in the Central Division, they didn't really play up to it. They were held to negative 17 yards rushing in the first half, negative 20 rushing yards in the game overall. They just couldn't get anything going offensively. The passing game worked a little bit for them. They would dink and dunk a little bit and get a first down here and there, but they shot themselves in the foot big time with penalties. 17 for 135, I think, penalties. Just pretty brutal overall. It seems like after Paloma went into halftime with an 8-3 lead. It was pretty even there coming out of halftime, but Paloma put up that 13-play, 80-yard drive to lead off the third quarter, and just the defensive linemen for Summit were dragging. They were on their knees towards the end of the drive. They just couldn't take it anymore, and you could hear them out there like, "We can't do this again. We can't let our offense do this to us again." But Summit just was flat out bad.
Yeah, Summit, the number 1 seed in the Central Division, as we mentioned. They won the title last year in the Eastern Division. But Paloma Valley, I mean, gosh, they're not your typical wild card team, right? I mean, they had a great season. They kind of sputtered down the stretch, but maybe not your typical at-large team to get into the playoffs.
They were 7-3 to get in, which is not an at-large team at all. They went 5-0 to start the season in their non-league games. They lost to Heritage, Elsinore, and Temescal Canyon in the Sun Belt League. They beat Paris and the other one, Lakeside. So, kind of a mixed bag for them overall. But Solis and that offensive line, they got the job done tonight. And Brent Bohm, he was effective. I think he was 0 of 4 with an interception on his first 4 attempts. But after that, he's kind of settled down and got things going for him.
And Solis did come back after he ran into the big Wildcat mouth.
Yeah. He finished with 175 almost in the game. Yeah, 3 touchdowns.
All right, so I'm just going to play the hypothetical card right here. So Paloma Valley, they're going to get La Quinta. La Quinta beat Colony tonight, 27-14. Let's just say they get past La Quinta. They could see Elsinore in the semis. Then they could maybe even see Heritage in the championship. Maybe a revenge tour for Paloma Valley.
Yeah, they lost to Elsinore, I think, by a field goal.
Yeah, at the end.
And they lost by 10 or 11 to Heritage. So good close games with both those teams. I think Paloma, they have the motivation, they have the desire now, and they know that they can win. So I think the sky's the limit. Bert Esposito, their coach, told me after the game, he said, I told my players that we were going to shock the world, and obviously it's a huge cliche nowadays, but I mean it rang true because Summit, they had shut out their last 4 opponents. Granted, they play in the Sunkist League, but they had shut out their last 4 opponents, and 5 of their last 6 opponents they had held to 0 points, and they couldn't even get in the end zone themselves tonight. So.
Plus, if you sneak into the playoffs and you're considered, an at-large team, what have you got to lose, right? I mean, you're going on the road to the top seed. I mean, just let it all hang out, right?
Yeah, they had absolutely nothing to lose playing in this game tonight. And, everyone was fired up. The fans, the coaches, they were screaming and yelling and cussing each other the whole game. There was no moment where there was a lapse for them, it didn't seem like, from any aspect of their game.
Paloma Valley, did they travel well? Did they have some fans
They
up
had
there?
a decent crowd.
Yeah?
I mean, they probably had a couple hundred, yeah.
All right, so Paloma Valley moving on to face La Quinta in the second round. Dennis Pope, the usual, right there, just blew it up. All right, Javier, let's crank up the scoreboard from the Central Division. There it is. That was Dennis Pope's game. 22-3, Paloma Valley does not allow a touchdown, and the Wildcats are moving on. 22-3, your final score. All right, also from the Central Division, Colton and Elsinore, the Tigers, they are moving on. 41-6, your final. Also from the Central Division, the Rancho Verde taking on Chaffee. To the next scoreboard, Javier. It was Rancho Verde and Chaffee. There it is, 56-6, your final score. So it will be Rancho Verde and Elsinore meeting in the second round. Elsinore, remember, knocking off the Mustangs in dramatic fashion to start the season, so they will get a rematch in the second round. Kaiser and that defense, they beat North 14-7, so the Cats double up the Huskies 14-7. So Kaiser will meet Temescal Canyon. The Titans go on the road to defeat Palm Springs 21-3. So it's Kaiser and the Titans in the second round. And Arlington, they go on the road and defeat Chino 29-7. So Arlington will meet Heritage. We just saw the highlights. Heritage defeated Palm Desert 42-28. So the Patriots are moving on. That Arlington Heritage game is going to be a great matchup. So those are the Central Division scores. All right, let's come back here live in the studio. We're going to move on to the Eastern Division now, and that takes us to Beaumont, and it's an all-local battle in Beaumont as the Cougars were home for the Moreno Valley Vikings, and our guy Javier Cabrera was there covering the game. He got there at halftime. Beaumont already up 14-0. All right, Angel, let's roll the highlights from Beaumont. Apparently, Beaumont's big fans of HS Game Time. We're big fans of theirs. We also love Moreno Valley, the Vikings. And as we told you, it was 14-0 in the third quarter when Beaumont cranks it up on offense. That's Joe Jeffers, the long run there. That sets up my guy, my boy, Jacob Ulibarri, or come on, Jacob, you got to help me out. Apparently I'm saying your name wrong, maybe. So it's Ulibarri to Josh Martin. Jacob makes the pass, and Josh does the rest all the way down to about the 15-yard line. And that sets up Ulibarri, Jacob, to Sam Roberts for the touchdown. Jacob Ulibarri and Beaumont, they win by a final score of, let's see, where was it? I just wrote it down. I've got too many papers going on. Was it 35-7? Does that sound about right? I think it was 35-7 or 35-8, but Beaumont did beat Moreno Valley. 35-10? 35-7. Angel's the man. I love this, the walkie-talkies. That's how we communicate. It works out great. All right, thank you, Angel. All right, also, let's go down the scores now from the Eastern Division. I got my bracket out. We're going to fill this out, find out who's playing who in the next round. So Citrus Hill, the top seed in the Eastern Division, they win 51-0 against Silverado. So the Hawks had no problem there. Rialto beating Novi 37-28, so it will be Citrus Hill and Rialto in the second round. To the next score in the Eastern Division. Tahquitz 40-14 over San Gorgonio, and so that means Tahquitz will get Oak Hills in the second round. Arroyo Valley coming up short against Serrano 39-21, and that brings us to the Beaumont score, I believe. Is it Beaumont score 35-7? So it is Beaumont and Serrano in the second round. All right, also Burroughs. You know, did you know the Burroughs High School, their mascot's the Burroughs? The Burroughs. I used to cover them when I worked up in the San Joaquin Valley. So the Burroughs beat San Jacinto 17-8. Former team of Santiago's head coach, Jeff Steinberg, by the way. A little trivia question for you there. And Carter over La Sierra 35-13. So Carter will get Burroughs, the Burroughs in the second round in the East Division. All right, back here live in the studio. Let's see, where are we going next? Oh, Banning. If we go to Beaumont, got to go to Banning, right? They're neighbors, and they've both got great football teams. But Banning playing in the East Valley Division. So let's get your brackets back out. I'm going to the East Valley now. All right, let's roll the highlights from Banning. They all love to run through the signs, the big paper signs. There's Sty Hairston. We know he can run. He even throws a little bit too once in a while. Hey, those are my boys. The biggest fans of HS Game Time in Banning. That is Devon, Jesse, and Nathan. Shadow Hills, 4th and goal. Banning coming up big time. Shuts Shadow Hills out of the end zone there. Then later, how about some offense? Sty Hairston throwing to Babra Edwards. A couple of yards on that play to move the chains. And then Sty Hairston says, you know what? It's time for the Sty Hairston experience. 80 yards on this touchdown run. The first touchdown of the game. That made it 7-0 Banning in the second quarter. And how about another Sty Hairston touchdown in the second quarter? And Banning goes on to beat Shadow Hills by a final score of 21-3. So a low-scoring game. There's two of your touchdowns right there by the Sty Hairston experience. All right, let's go to the East Valley Division scores. I got my pen, I got my brackets, and here we go. Let's check out those East Valley scores. Do we got that Rubidoux score? Oh, man, Rubidoux lost 59-36, your final score in that one. Just a reminder, we got Chris Ercole coming up next. So if Chris is out there, he needs to get in here. And we tell you, Rubidoux lost. Let's go to the next score from the East Valley Division. I think that would be Citrus Valley and Yucca Valley. Check out those Blackhawks playing some defense. 17-0. So another Redland school picking up the victory, 17-0. Fillmore over Harupa Hills. So that means Citrus Valley and Fillmore will meet in the second round on Friday. Banning. Let's go to the Banning score. 21-3. They win, and they will get, let's see, do we have the Linfield? All right, Linfield Christian beat Malibu, 41-21. So I'm filling out my brackets right now. So if you got your pen, let's do it together right now. Linfield Christian and Banning meeting in the second round. Rim of the World beating 29 Palms, 35-3. So Rim will take on, will it be Aquinas? No, it will not be Aquinas. St. Margaret's blanks Aquinas, 28-0. So St. Margaret's and Rim in the second round, Banning and Linfield Christian, Citrus Valley, and Fillmore. So that's the East Valley Division. Back here live in the HS Game Time Live Lounge, we're going to go through the Inland Division scores and the Murrieta Valley and Vista Murrieta as well before we close the show.
I want to make a major announcement.
Yes.
Tonight, I will not name the brand because we're not authorized to because it's not a sponsor yet. But I spoke to a gentleman on the Murrieta Valley sideline who works with a major beverage company that said he was thinking about possibly facilitating some product placement right here in the studio.
We've got a big chunk of space right here.
Right there.
So
I won't name the beverage company, but it's a nationally known power.
Hey, we've got what? 2 or 3, maybe 4 weeks of HS Game Time Live still to do. There's plenty of time.
$10,000 a week. We can work something out, right?
Hey, have your people call his people.
Make the check out to Pet Fernandez, right?
I'll make sure it gets in the right place. I can take care of that. All right, so Chris, you did the Murrieta tour again.
I did the Murrieta tour. I am seeking citizenship, and I live in Riverside, but I'm thinking of seeking citizenship. Maybe set up a tree house at Vista Murrieta or something like that.
Considered residence.
Sleep in the press box or something like that. Now that Kurt Ruth is running the press box as the PA guy, maybe he'll give me a key to the press box. I can sleep there on Thursday nights or something.
Wouldn't be so bad.
Wouldn't be so bad. I think, though, we are begin with Murrieta Valley, and they were in a showdown tonight. 21-21 tie at halftime. Continues to be a heavyweight battle. How about Jacob Augustine? He's throwing a little slugfest in the second half, driving with the power run from 2 yards out, 28-21, the lead for Murrieta Valley. Nighthawks D would be clutch as well. Michael Payne bringing the pain, stuffing the Eagles' run. It's a no-fly zone for the Eagles. Not in the fourth quarter, though. Ike would tee it high and let it fly. Harris throws to a wide-open Jerian Burton, cutting the Murrieta Valley lead to just 28-27 on a missed PAT. But have no fear if you're Murrieta Valley. The big plays come in small packages. 5'6", Damian Nolan on the ensuing kickoff goes 95 yards for the touchdown, 35-27. The score, Ike. One last hurrah on fourth down. They would be denied. Murrieta Valley hangs on for the 35-27 win. All hugs and handshakes there. But hey, no time to rest. Guess what? You know what your present is? You get to play Centennial next week. I'm not sure if that's coal in your stocking or what that is. It's definitely not much of a gift, that's for sure.
No, so Murrieta Valley, and you, from your peeps on the sideline, it sounds like they'll host. The Nighthawks will host.
That's the word. They will host, apparently. They didn't have a full stand tonight. I don't know. It was a little nippy in the high 40s. I don't know if those Murrieta folks are used to the high 40 temps. But
better bundle up.
They better bundle up and pack the house if they are, in fact, hosting Centennial next week. Because you better bundle up, but you know Matt Logan's going to be wearing shorts, so no excuses.
You
right?
know that's for sure. All right, so that was so Murrieta Valley gets the big win against Ike. Vista Murrieta taking on South Hills.
A little curveball. I rolled onto the sideline, and Sua Cravens was wearing the hoodie. There he is, wearing the hoodie.
Why is he doing that?
He's looking like he's taking a pregame nap, but he's wearing the hoodie, getting ready to rests the shoulder. Apparently injured it against Chaparral last week, and I guess if they needed to, they'd throw up the bat light, and he would run to the rescue. But he had his Robin in there. He had Nick Stevens in the game. Sua enjoying the game from the sideline. Have no fear, though. Backup running back. Oh, yeah. Let's not forget Ruth on the microphone tonight. But have no fear. Garrett Caraway, the backup running back for Vista, not looking like much of a backup here. Shaking the defenders on his way to the score, giving the Broncos the early lead. And Nick Stevens, he's another. Maybe we can call him Batman and Superman. The kid's a quarterback, but he does a little bit of everything, working the ground game for a 20-yard pickup. A little bit more here from Scuba Steve. He fakes the handoff, doing it again himself. Where's number 7? Hey, how about Elway? Can we draw maybe an Elway comparison, Pep? How about that? 13-0 Broncos in the lead at that time. Sua out. Bryce Smith in. Dr. Smith is in, and he's taking the house call. A sack right there for the Vista D. The sack party would continue. Trayshawn Broughton gets involved, denying South Hills. South Hills would find the end zone from 1 yard out, powering their way in. 13-6 the score. Maybe a little bit of nervous time for Vista Murrieta. They don't have their leader in the game, but Nick Stevens would take back to charge. He finds Mr. Baker, one of his favorite targets, in the end zone for the touchdown right before halftime. They lead 26 at halftime. They win the game 34-6. Vista Murrieta is ready for a collision course with Norco. And we believe the game is in Norco. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah, we're going to go with that because Vista hosted and Norco was on the road. So it looks like Norco will host Vista Murrieta in the next round.
Watch out, ladies and gentlemen. I do know that the Vista Bronco Nation will probably be traveling.
I suspect that game's going to be packed because Norco did travel well to Redlands tonight.
And Norco packs the crowd over at their home territory, so that should be a showdown. It's not going to be Pacquiao Bradley. It's going to be Pacquiao Mayweather. It's not going to disappoint if we ever see that Pacquiao Mayweather fight.
Yeah, what I like about Norco is they do that whole "We Are Norco" chant. Mm-hmm. It's pretty awesome. So Norco and Vista Murrieta is one of the quarterfinals, and then
Murrieta Valley, Centennial. A couple heavyweight battles.
Yeah,
Pep, we know you're the Pick'em champ. Pop off a couple predictions right there.
You want to see? Let's see. I would probably go. I mean, I've got Centennial and Vista in the final, so I have to go with Centennial and Vista in those two games. But Redlands and Upland. I'll go Redlands. I'm riding Redlands all the way, man.
I must say, we do give Pep a hard time because he's been kind of swinging.
I'm bold. I like to say bold.
He kind of goes PR style when he's making some of his picks. But tonight it came up. He got the Redlands pick. He got Paloma Valley. Did you get Arlington?
I got Arlington.
Yeah, and you got Beaumont.
I got Beaumont.
Look at that.
I didn't get Rev and Chaparral. I stuck my neck out there, and I would do it again for the Pumas and the Wildcats.
Living life on the wild side, though. 4 out of 6 isn't bad. Isn't bad at all.
Once in a while, you just got to go for it. I'm already in last place. What have I got to lose?
That's true. Swing for the fences, right?
Is that Javier Cabrera laughing out there? Ja Rule?
Ja's not even in the pick'em game, so what's he laughing
he's busting
about?
My chops. He's not in the contest. All right, thank you, Chris. We're going to close the show in just a second, but let's check out the Inland Division scores one more time before we wrap this thing up. And there's Vista Murrieta beating South Hills. No problem there, even without Sua Cravens. 34-6 your final score. Also from the Inland Division, Norco Rev 50-22. As we told you, it was tied at 22 at halftime, and then Norco in the second half just blew this thing open. Rancho Cucamonga ends Santiago season 33-17. And let's see, also from the Inland Division, Charter Oak 10 better than Chaparral, 24-14. So it will be Rancho Cucamonga against Charter Oak in the second round or the quarterfinals, whatever you prefer to call it. Upland over Great Oak 35-6. Redlands playing at Chino Hills, and the Terriers get it done. Big time, 55-27. So it's Redlands and Upland in the second round. Murrieta Valley beating Eisenhower 35-27, and Centennial beating the Bears 47-21. So it's Centennial and Murrieta Valley in the quarterfinals. All right, back here live in the studio, we just did it. We went through the Inland Division, the Central Division. the Eastern Division and the East Valley Division. We brought you some highlights. We're going to have a ton of highlights. In fact, I'm crunching the numbers. I'm doing the math. I count about 15 or 16 different games that we are expecting video highlights of for the Saturday Scouting Report. So please check back on Saturday for the complete show of all the highlights from the first round of the high school football playoffs. As for HS Game Time Live, we will be back. We will do it again next Friday night, right around 10:30. As we told you, this 7:30 kickoff thing really threw a wrench into our plans, but we came on the air. We did it live, a little bit late, but worth the wait here at HS Game Time Live. For everyone here at the Press Enterprise, we appreciate you watching, and we will see you again next Friday.